G'day ice cream lovers, Steve Christensen here. Welcome to Scoop School. Hey, in the last video we put together a pretty decent pumpkin pie ice cream. Not my favourite, but certainly a big fall favourite in the Northern Hemisphere, well, even just in the United States. I've been talking to some good friends that I'm helping out opening stores from the UK, and they don't get the pumpkin thing either, so maybe it's just a Commonwealth thing. But in any case, understand the tradition, and we're working with you. So a couple of other things that you can do with that pumpkin pie ice cream, or just pumpkin ice cream, which I think will actually drive revenue for you. They look great, they taste great, and just a couple of different offerings to broaden out the menu and really get the most out of that pumpkin pie ice cream. So what I've got here are two store-bought graham cracker crusts. The first one is a pie, so we'll do a pie. The second one, which I really like, are these smaller, I guess you'd call them pie shells, graham cracker pie crusts. But I think they're fantastic just for an individual serving. Now, whether this be for pumpkin pie ice cream, you can do a cheesecake ice cream in it. I think it's a really good novelty. So what I'm going to do is take one of these little fellas. They come with a little beautiful little seal. So I'll take one of these guys, and we'll also unwrap the pie crust. Now, I had both of these in the freezer. You want to keep them nice and cold. Now, part of the problem is, particularly when you're working with graham cracker crusts, is they crumble a lot. So before we just go dumping the ice cream in here, we're going to do something a little bit different, which is going to give the product some structure, but it will also taste good as well. So this is a caramel topping. It's a topping or a base. It's an RTU, ready-to-use caramel topping. A couple of things about squeeze bottles. I love squeeze bottles. We did a podcast episode about squeeze bottles. I literally have a box over here with about 100 squeeze bottles in. I use them all the time. I've got squeeze bottles over here, squeeze bottles in my prep sink over here. Honestly, there's squeeze bottles everywhere because I think they're such a great way of dispensing product and also giving you a good handle on portion control as well. So what we're going to do is basically pour a little of this, or squeeze a little of this caramel topping into the base, and what it's going to do is provide structure to the pie crust while it's freezing. It almost creates almost like a little lattice. Oh, these compressors turned off over there. I can probably do a little bit better if I cut that that down a little bit. I don't have to coat the whole thing, but enough to kind of just hold onto the edges here. You'll kind of see in and around the edge here that as this freezes, again, it's going to make the shell a little firmer, and it'll also give a nice little taste sensation between the crust and the actual ice cream. Now, here's where a blast freezer comes into handy. You can actually take a spatula and just kind of, either coat the whole thing or just draw some of it up the side wall here. Again, just that coverage is going to help you. When it freezes down, it'll become a lot stronger with it than without it. And again, this is why I always say you should get a blast freezer, because we're going to put these in the blast freezer for about 10-15 minutes. The topping is going to go very hard very quickly, and then I can actually do these novelties quickly without having to put them in the freezer and wait an extended period of time. Let's pop over there. Okay, so this is a blast freezer from our good friends at Advanced Gourmet. They sell the Tech Frost brand. This is probably one of the smallest blast freezers you can get. It's designed to sit underneath a small batch freezer. So I've got it set on -30. And so what a blast freezer does, it's like a convection oven for freezers. So I put my larger pie crust in here. I can do 3 or 4 of these little guys. Put them in here as well. Close that. Now what's going to happen is when the door closes, the fan kicks on. So whether I've got this -20 or -30, it's not necessarily the temperature, it's how fast it gets there. I'm literally going to leave this in here for about 3 to 5 minutes, and it will be firm enough that I can now put my pumpkin ice cream in there, dress it, put it back in here, and then it's ready to serve. So a really great blessing. I really love having a batch freezer, a blast freezer in the business, not only to blast freeze down our ice cream products, but to do novelties as well. Okay, well, it's been about 7 minutes. Let me turn this around so I can see myself. Well, let me put it up a little bit. There she goes. Yeah, that's enough. Look, it's been about 7 minutes. And you can kind of tell by the consistency, it's literally rock hard. You can kind of see the shimmer of the studio lights off it. So with the little guy here, again, this has given it some strength around. I can just take a scoop of this ice cream, and again, this is the stuff that we made earlier, so it's still a little soft. But if I can pop this in here, push down, squeeze up, honestly, how simple is that? It's just such a beautiful looking, simple product to make. We can drizzle a little bit of our caramel over the top. Look, I feel like crying. It's just so beautiful. In fact, I'm going to go and take a photo of it right now. I've got a little studio set up over there. It's pretty easy. I'll take it over and show you in a minute there, but that's, it's just so good. And it looks so good. Put a little bit of whipped cream on the top of that. Whoosh, Bob's your uncle. Now, this bad boy here, you're going to need a larger spatula here to basically take a large chunk of this softened ice cream out. And again, you don't want to do this with firm ice cream because it will just crumble the shell. Just going to take 3 of this out and just very gently massage it in. And you can kind of get an idea as it kind of pans out to the side how much more. You don't want to overfill it, but you do want to make sure, let me get this out of the way, that the ice cream basically fills up to the side wall of the pie shell. And you can kind of get an idea. It looks pretty good. Maybe just one more. Drop that on the top. I like using a smaller spatula or a gelato spade. Again, it'll going to give it a nice look. It doesn't need to be pretty because you don't want it to make it look like it's been manufactured. You want it to make it look like it's kind of been made fresh, just like Mom used to make these pies back in the oven. They just kind of, they didn't look perfect. They looked very beautifully ugly. And maybe that's just me having an excuse for not being culinarily driven. Any little idiosyncrasies, any kind of warm spots, places where it's not level, you can have a look. But I'm telling you what, again, these are big money spinners. This pie has probably cost me about $2.80. I can sell it anywhere between $17 and $25. Again, if you want to put the drizzle of caramel on, and this is again where the squeeze bottle comes into play. I would probably lattice this a little bit. So I'll let it run out there and then go back this way. Almost like one of those 3D printers without the precision. Look at that. Now, I've got good structure because I've got that caramel in and around the base. I want to take a picture of this. Now, you can garnish this with a little whipped cream around the top, a little bit in the middle. If you want to put some marshmallow in there, you can. Look, the sky's the limit. Anything you can do to take away from the taste of pumpkin, as far as I'm concerned, is a bonus. Just kidding. But again, these shells are available at your grocery store. I think it's a great way of utilizing your pumpkin pie ice cream. Keep on scooping, folks. If you have any suggestions or any questions, anything you'd like us to tackle here at Scoop School, send us an email, steve@scoopschool.com. Keep on scooping, folks, and we'll see you in the next video.